You ever feel your teeth vibrating before the rest of you knows something's wrong? Timothy asked, voice soft, almost conspiratorial. Not like a panic attack. I mean real vibration. Microscopic, like your enamel is trying to broadcast a message your skull can't decrypt yet. The man across from him, gray scrubs, clipboard, but eyes too wide to be staff, raised a brow. That's how it started? No, Timothy said, letting his head fall back against the pillow. That's how I noticed it had already started. Pause. The overhead fluorescence stuttered, on purpose if you asked him. It was around 3:47 a.m., statistically the most metaphysically permeable hour in a 24-hour cycle, according to the Siberian Swiss databanks that keep track of those sorts of things. I was chewing a wintergreen lifesaver, because I was trying to summon the blue spark. The spark, from middle school. Dark room, lifesaver between molars. Crunch, flash of light, you remember? That spark. The man didn't nod, but he didn't interrupt either. But when I bit down, nothing flashed. Instead, I felt a pressure behind my eyes, like an intraorbital hematoma, except not from trauma. More like the space inside my skull was repositioning, like tectonic drift, but across cortical folds. I got up to puke, but never made it to the sink. So collapsed? And I collapsed outward. My interiority folded in on itself, and I became an event horizon. I could still hear the hospital around me, paging systems, the whisper of rubber soles, but it was muffled, like someone had placed a vacuum bell over my perception. I was both Timmy and not Timmy. So you hallucinated. No, I expanded. There's a difference. Hallucination implies departure from reality. Expansion is realizing reality was already bigger than you'd assumed. I saw Jeff, for the first time since the incident. Jeff. The name sat heavy between them. He was in a black dog, not a car, a literal, enormous black dog, stationed right in the center of the sun. That's when I understood music differently. The kind of music that composes itself around choreography and cosmic physics. You could smell the rhythm. Touch Me by the Doors was playing. The other man blinked. That's oddly specific, because it happened. And Jeff had this look, we both knew it would come to this look. He pulled a sword. I pulled nothing, because I'd left my weapons in the waiting room of the seventh dimension. The fight was balletic. Stars fell like magnesium confetti. And then he trailed off, the hospital monitor behind him letting out a quiet, well-timed beep. And then the green screen fell down, like it was all a set. That's when I started to doubt and remember. Who was filming? The other man asked. Timothy paused. A grin crept slowly across his face. Not joyful. More like someone watching a puzzle piece click into place. That's the wrong question, he said. The better question is, what was filming? Since you think you were being watched? No, I was the camera. That's what people forget. Consciousness isn't seated in the self, it's an aperture. When the green screen fell and the EDM dropped, I stopped being a participant. I became the lens. The world kept dancing. I kept bleeding. The man scribbled something on the clipboard. His handwriting was slow, deliberate. You've said you had wounds, severe lacerations. Was this self-inflicted? Timothy laughed softly. Everything is self-inflicted when you don't know what part of you is holding the knife. He turned slightly, revealing his back. Faint scars coiled across his scapulae like surgical calligraphy. They opened me up, installed the pistol. I remember it as a memory but also as a prophecy. It was already there, but I had to lose enough blood to find it. You're saying you reached into your back? And pulled out an impossible weapon. The moment was beautiful. That kind of beauty you don't get in real life, only in climax sequences. You know, after the cigarette break, I shot Jeff in the sun. The room was quiet for a moment, the fluorescent hum returning, louder now, like an audience breathing in. He died? No, Timothy's voice dropped. That's the thing. The shot wasn't meant to kill, it was the ticket. It was how he got collected. Collected? Timothy nodded slowly. The ship arrived. Enormous, unseeable unless you already believe in it, covered in hands, not holding anything, just reaching. Long, uncoiling arms that went on forever. They picked Jeff up like he was overdue library material. And then he smiled. The other man swallowed. And what did the plaque say? Congratulations, Timothy replied, eyes suddenly wet and unfocused, misspelled. Like the universe was trying its best. Ah, the island. The one not found on any map, though if you bite the right apple, sometimes you get a taste of its salt wind. They call it Isle Malice, not because it's evil, though many would say it is, but because every apple in the world answers to it. Every orchard, every crisp bite, every barcode on a produce sticker hums with the frequency of this place. The island is shaped like a molar tooth, jagged cliffs and smooth inner valleys. It moves, not like a floating island, but tectonically migratory. It's a sovereign biome. The trees there grow upside down, roots grasp at the stars. The fruit grows underground, where light has to be piped in via mirrors and thought. No one farms it. The apples farm themselves. They have memory, not consciousness, not quite, but legacy. Genetic ghosts. You eat one and you dream of things you've never seen. You remember people who never existed. Sometimes you remember yourself dying in wars that didn't happen. Sometimes you wake up speaking in tongues that predate breath. There's a council there, 11 figures, hooded. They call themselves the Graft Keepers. Each oversees a different variety: Granny Smith, Fuji, Gala, Brayburn, Cosmic Crisp, yes, even those. Each variety is tied to a certain kind of surveillance. Fuji apples are emotional sensors. Honey Crisps are tied to health records. The Red Delicious? Those are the worst. They're for nostalgia. The false kind. And every once in a while someone is taken to the island. Not by boat. Not by plane. You bite into a particular apple, usually given by someone with no shadow, and you disappear mid-chew. Gone. The people around you won't remember you existed. You don't die. You just become part of the island's memory. Part of the orchard. Timothy says he's been there. Just once. He brought back a seed in his tooth. Had it sealed in enamel by a dentist who wouldn't stop crying during the procedure. You'll know it if you ever get there, he says. Because the trees breathe, and if you breathe with them, they'll let you stay. If not, you become mulch. Either way, you belong. You'll know it if you ever get there, he says. Because the trees breathe, and if you breathe with them, they'll let you stay. If not, you become mulch. Either way, you belong. A voice filtered in, smooth and sterile like steam off a disinfected tray. Is there anything I can get you? An extra blanket? Anything at all? Timothy's eyes stayed on the ceiling, unmoving. No, thank you, he said, barely louder than the hum of the oxygen in the wall. The question settled into the folds of the silence, like a coin slipping into the lining of an old coat. For the next hour, or some driftless measure of time that felt like memory trying to imitate the shape of a clock, he thought about the frogs. Not literal frogs, not anymore. These were people, maybe. Or memories of people, given strange names by his pharmacological fog. There was one shaped like life, or like the idea of her. Not the woman herself, but the version of her that had once lived just behind Timothy's ribs, a specter curled like a fist around his sternum. He remembered how she blinked too often when thinking. How she'd refer to colors by temperature rather than name. And how the other frogs, the lesser ones, tried to speak in echoes of her, but could never quite get the timbre right. It made Timothy's throat tighten. Not out of sadness, necessarily, but out of the knowledge that something had been preserved in the wrong way, like a song recorded at the wrong speed. I thought of the pizzas you used to bring home after your shift, lukewarm, half-crushed in the box, still wrapped in the scent of your jacket and the fluorescent light of the closing hour. Funny, how I never really cared for pizza before that. It was just food, grease and salt and noise. But now, in that sterile room, I remembered those cardboard offerings like relics from a more sacred time. My eyes fluttered open. A nurse rounded the corner with the tray, her face folded into that soft, professional neutrality they all wear like a second skin. She lifted the lid and paused. Strange, she said with a brief crease of her brow. I've never seen this hospital serve pizza before. I tried to make sense of it. Maybe it was a mix-up, a prank, a hallucination. My brain spun the dials, trying to tune it to logic. But the signal wouldn't come, and then I stopped trying. This, whatever it was, had arrived for me. I understood that with the clarity of something more ancient than reason. Someone else, in one of these rooms, would have taken the gift if I didn't. That was enough. A single tear slipped down my cheek as I looked at the nurse. Thank you, I said. Quiet, but unmistakably sincere. The kind of thank you that contains the whole history of needing. Across the hall, a man in the opposite room caught my eye. He gave me that slight nod, the shared acknowledgement of two wounded things. His arms were swaddled in layers of gauze and tape, and I knew, without knowing how, that his pain was deeper than mine, etched not just into flesh, but into whatever comes after. The intercom beeped. My transfer bed was ready. Another hospital, another hallway, another strange mercy waiting beneath another silver lid. You know the place, the hospital where the frogs go. And not just the frogs. The whole menagerie. Every creature from the cracked open zoo of the mind. I knew the drill by now. Keep your head down, hide your softness, smuggle the essentials. I slipped my phone into my sock and let them walk me through the automatic doors into the hush of antiseptic light. The room they gave me was already half claimed. My roommate, an older man, his face a map of silent storms, was asleep under the hum of the vent. I moved quietly out of respect or instinct, maybe both. I laid on the thin bed, the kind that folds and wheezes like an old accordion, and slipped my phone into the pillowcase like it was a secret I had to keep from the walls. That's when time went strange. Not slow, not fast, just sideways. Sleep didn't come, but waking felt fictional. I watched the ceiling morph. Hours passed in fragments. The nurse drew my blood without fanfare, her hands competent and uncurious. I asked her, softly, for the deck of playing cards. They kept them at the front desk, probably for therapy or nostalgia, but, to me, they were something older than that. Something like camouflage. When she handed me the deck, I held it like a relic. My fingers remembered the rhythm even if the rest of me didn't. I stood in the shadows of the hallway, eyes low, body still. I slipped between the cracks of the place, moving like mist, down past the nurse's station, into the corridor where the walls flickered like a dream breaking. Somewhere near the elevators, the hallway dissolved into the central courtyard. Trees I couldn't name swayed in wind that didn't exist, and I remembered suddenly this wasn't a hospital at all. It was a dream inside a dream. And in that dream, I wasn't a frog. I was something else, something lighter. I lifted into the air without thinking. No wings, no effort, just flight. Below me, they shuffled by. The other patients, the staff, the ghosts, they moved like nothing had changed. As I floated above, I shuffled the cards, letting the flick and snap of them cloak me in invisibility. And no one noticed. No one ever does when you're finally free. Then she sat beside me, the girl with one eye. She didn't ask, she just dropped herself onto the couch like we'd been mid-conversation our whole lives. You know what they're doing to us, she said, her tone clipped, urgent. I didn't respond aloud. I didn't need to. My eyes carried the weight of every nod, shrug, and sigh. She saw it. She kept going. There's tunnels, she whispered. Why do you think they keep taking our blood? Vampires. That's the part they leave out of the Bible. When Jesus died, they sucked his blood too. She said it without blinking. I had heard variations of this before, conspiracy folded into scripture, fever into faith. But she didn't slow. She spoke like someone pulling thread from a wound, unrelenting, compulsive. And then, as suddenly as she'd appeared, she left, slipping out the door like vapor, likely to spook someone else down the ward. Another girl arrived not long after, also with one eye. At this point, I wondered if it was a uniform or a mutation. She seemed more composed, though her opening was just as jarring. Mermaids this time. Mermaids. And time travel. And how the oceans whisper to those who remember the old clocks. She laughed mid-sentence, stood without a goodbye, and vanished in the same direction as the first. Maybe it was a shift change. Maybe it was a haunting. Left alone, I retreated into the sound of cards shuffling. Hours passed. It's hard to tell how many. They measure time differently here, like it's heavy and liquid, and I just kept shuffling, waiting for gravity to return. The doctor would like to see you now, said the nurse. I looked up, blinking away static, and I opened the door. He was already seated. Good to see you, he said, like we were old friends. We've gone over your assessment. Important news. He adjusted his glasses with a finger that shook just slightly. It seems you are not a frog after all. The results are clear. You're a salamander. The words hit like a rubber bullet, soft but brutal. There is no cure, he continued. Just as a pickle can never return to being a cucumber, you must accept that this is who you are. I stared at him. I didn't feel like a salamander. I had never once felt like a salamander. Every time they tell me this, I nod, I smile, I play along, just to get a little closer to discharge. If I ever said out loud how much I believe I'm a frog, I know they'd keep me here forever. But if I weren't a frog, wouldn't life be better by now? Annecy, I said. What must I do? What are the salamander ways? The doctor leaned back, eyes unreadable. As a subhuman, he said, you should stay here. We'll find you a home. Set up interviews. Maybe by next week we can move you to the next step. I nodded, but my mind was already elsewhere. Maybe I could run back to Frog City. With time to kill, I shuffled cards. A game started at the table. people murmuring among themselves. One voice floated over, "Sure must be easy being a frog." It wasn't directed at me, but it landed anyway. I shrugged it off, stood up, and told them they could keep the cards. Then I strolled away, practicing Tai Chi, letting the movements ground me. In the corner of the room, someone caught my eye. A girl casually, effortlessly jump up and backflip. I was stunned. No one else seemed to notice. She looked at me, saw my impressed expression, and executed another flawless flip. "That's pretty badass," I said. "Oh, thanks. I'm Small. Nice to meet you." "Nice to meet you too, Small. How are you enjoying our grand facility?" "Nicest I've been to so far," she replied. "I agree. This one is one of the better ones. May I ask you a question? Where did you learn that?" Small smiled. "I'm a monk. Trained my whole life in martial arts and meditation." As she spoke, she opened up about her personal life, feeling comfortable sharing. I listened intently. Then she asked, "Are you a lucid dreamer too?" That night I told her I did, and do, and could, and would. If I could, we'd meet at the middle park. She said yes. So that night we hung out. "You gotta teach me how to fly," she said. "Come on, it's easy," I replied. I flew around the center park. The area had a tree and a bench. As I floated down, Small spoke and said, "So didn't know you weren't a frog." And I said, "It's because when I fly, I don't feel like a frog." "Well, what are you gonna do when you leave this place?" she asked. I told her that I've been to Frog City. I lived there long in the desert sun, with a 30-foot wedding tent getting picked up by the wind and flying 100 yards up in the air and crashing straight down to the ground. After that, me and Small usually met at the center park every night. During the day, I practiced breathing, and I was really good at it. Others would see me and say, "Wow, you're really good at that." On the 4th day, she arrived. Jezebel, with her frizzy hair and an aura that drew everyone in. Her presence was magnetic, her personality captivating, and soon, the entire floor seemed to orbit around her. She claimed to feed on emotions, thriving on the reactions of those around her. People lined up to bring her gifts, compelled by an unseen force. "Do you know why people do things for me?" she asked me one day. "It's because I was stubbed, crushed, mushed, and mangled. Now I can see into the spirit world and control everything." I turned to her and said, "I totally believe you." With a dismissive wave, she walked away, muttering, "Oh my God, so fucking boring." That encounter left me yearning for justice. I kneeled on my bed and prayed, seeking solace. Suddenly, I felt a shift. A war had begun. An army of powerful heroes charged in, battling demons with unwavering strength. The demons stood no chance. As I closed my eyes, I listened to the rooms around me. A chain reaction had started. People began treating each other with kindness. An old lady with long hair walked slowly to the desk, asking for a Bible. "Get out of my way," Jezebel yelled, pushing the old lady aside. She demanded the room temperature be lowered, berating the staff for their slowness. In a frenzy, she started pulling her hair, screaming, "I hate this place. It's so boring." Everyone watched, caught between fight and flight, as she was escorted back to her room. The scene was chaotic, but as she disappeared, a sense of calm returned. The war was over. The fluorescent lights flicker overhead as Timothy and Small make their way down the corridor, the atmosphere still charged from the earlier events. "Timothy, did you hear that?" "Small, hear what?" From around the corner, a rhythmic sound echoes, "Pluck, pluck." A man in a wheelchair appears, propelling himself forward with surprising speed. He has only 2 toes, which he uses to maneuver the wheels with remarkable dexterity. Man in wheelchair, pluck, pluck. Make way for the toe maestro. Timothy, toe maestro? That's a new one. Small, he's got style, I'll give him that. The man comes to a halt beside them, grinning broadly. "Toe maestro, and name's Toe Maestro. I navigate these halls, bringing rhythm to the chaos. You two look like you could use some guidance." "Timothy, we've been exploring the dream realms, trying to make sense of everything. Toe Maestro, dreamwalkers. Then you must be ready for the next level. Follow me." He spins his wheelchair around and heads down a side corridor, the pluck, pluck sound echoing behind him. "Small, should we follow him?" "Timothy, at this point, why not?" They follow Toe Maestro, ready to delve deeper into the mysteries of their surreal world. The recreation room was dimly lit, the glow from the television casting soft shadows on the walls. Patients and staff gathered for the weekly movie night, the film of choice, Marley and Me. The story of a mischievous yet lovable Labrador unfolded on the screen, eliciting laughter and tears from the audience. Jezebel, known for her commanding presence and enigmatic aura, sat quietly among the viewers. Her usual intensity was replaced with a serene smile, her eyes reflecting the emotional journey of the film. For once, she seemed at peace, her usual need for control subdued by the heartfelt narrative. Timothy and Small exchanged glances, noting the rare tranquility that had settled over Jezebel. It was a side of her they hadn't seen before, a glimpse into a more vulnerable human aspect of her complex persona. As the movie reached its poignant conclusion, the room was silent, the impact of the story resonating with everyone present. Jezebel wiped a tear from her cheek, her expression softening. Jezebel, that dog. He was wild, uncontrollable, yet so full of love. Reminds me of someone I used to know. Timothy, sometimes it's the unruly ones who teach us the most about life and love. Small, true. They challenge us, push our boundaries, and in doing so help us grow. The room remained quiet, each person lost in their thoughts, the film leaving an indelible mark on their hearts. In that shared silence, a sense of unity emerged, a collective understanding of love, loss, and the profound impact of a loyal companion. The corridor is quiet, the echoes of laughter and tears from the movie night still lingering. Timothy walks slowly, lost in thought, when he hears the familiar pluck pluck approaching. Jeff Toe Maestro Timothy, wait up lad. I've been meaning to have a word with you. Timothy turning around Jeff, what's on your mind? Jeff, I've been observing you. There's a fire in you, a spark that's rare in these halls. You're not just a dreamer, you're a seeker. Timothy, I don't know about that. I'm just trying to make sense of everything. Jeff, that's precisely it. Most are content to drift, but you question, you explore. It's time you learned about the deeper layers of this place. Timothy, deeper layers? Jeff, yes, this hospital, these dreams, they're interconnected. There's a realm beyond what you've seen, a place where the boundaries blur. I can guide you, but you must be willing to take the first step. Timothy nods slowly, I'm ready. Jeff, good. Meet me at the Center Park at midnight. Bring Small. We'll begin your true journey then. With that, Jeff wheels away, the pluck, pluck, fading into the distance, leaving Timothy with a sense of anticipation and a hint of apprehension. You awaken to find yourself in a room that mirrors your own confusion. The walls are adorned with abstract patterns, and the floor is a mosaic of fragmented memories. As you look around, you notice the others, Jeff, Jezebel, Small, Trevor, all present, each encased in garments crafted entirely from styrofoam. Jeff's attire is a patchwork of delicate translucent foam sheets, layered intricately to form a flowing robe that catches the light with every movement. It's as if each piece tells a story, a chapter of his journey. Jezebel's ensemble is more avant-garde, with sharp, angular pieces jutting out, creating a silhouette that is both captivating and unsettling. The foam seems to pulse with an energy of its own, reflecting her complex nature. Small's outfit is minimalist, yet profound. A simple foam tunic that flows effortlessly, embodying her serene and grounded presence. It's a stark contrast to the others, yet it speaks volumes. Trevor stands apart, his styrofoam suit tailored to perfection, exuding authority and purpose. Yet there's a fragility to it, as if the very structure is on the verge of collapse. You look down at your own attire, or rather the lack thereof. You're draped in a sheer, iridescent foam fabric that clings to your form, shifting with your every breath. It's both alien and familiar, a reflection of your current state. As you observe, you realize that these garments are not mere clothing. They are armor, shields crafted from the very material that encapsulates your fears, your desires, and your truths. Each piece is a reflection of the wearer's inner world, molded and shaped by their experiences. You reach out to touch Jeff's robe, and it's surprisingly warm, soft to the touch. It feels alive, as if it responds to your presence. He turns to you, his eyes meeting yours with a knowing gaze. Do you understand now? He asks, his voice a whisper that resonates within you. You nod slowly, the weight of his words settling in. The styrofoam is not just a material, it's a conduit, a bridge between the physical and the metaphysical. It's a manifestation of the journey you're all on, a journey of transformation and self-discovery. As you stand amidst your companions, each encased in their unique styrofoam attire, you feel a sense of unity. You're all different, yet the same. Bound by the material that envelops you, yet free to explore the depths of your own consciousness. The room begins to shift, the walls pulsating with a rhythmic energy. The air thickens, and the floor beneath you trembles. It's time to move forward, to embrace the next phase of your journey. But as you take a step, you hesitate. The styrofoam beneath your feet feels different now, solid, unyielding. It's as if the very ground is testing you, challenging your resolve. You take a deep breath, steadying yourself. This is your path, your story, and you're ready to walk it, one step at a time. You find yourself in a vast echoing chamber, the walls pulsating with a soft rhythmic glow. The air is thick with anticipation, and the scent of ozone tingles your senses. Around you, the familiar figures, Jeff, Jezebel, Small, Trevor, stand silently, their styrofoam garments shimmering under the ethereal light. As you step forward, the floor beneath you responds, rippling like water, yet solid beneath your feet. Each movement feels deliberate, as if the very act of walking is a dialogue with the space itself. Jeff turns to you, his eyes reflecting the chamber's luminescence. "Do you feel it?" he asks, his voice resonating within your mind rather than your ears. You nod, the sensation indescribable yet profoundly familiar. "It's as if the room is alive," you reply. Jezebel steps closer, her styrofoam attire shifting hues with each motion. "This place," she begins, "is a manifestation of our collective consciousness, a nexus where our inner truths converge." Small raises her hands, and the chamber responds, revealing swirling patterns of light and shadow. "Here, we confront the fragments of ourselves we've long ignored," she says softly. Trevor approaches, holding a mirror crafted from the same styrofoam material. He offers it to you. "Look," he urges. You gaze into the mirror, expecting your reflection. Instead, you see a montage of memories, emotions, and moments, some yours, some unfamiliar. Joy, sorrow, fear, love, all intertwining in a dance of light. "This is who you are," Trevor explains. "Not just the individual experiences, but the amalgamation of them. Each moment, each emotion contributes to your essence." You feel a surge of understanding, a realization that your journey isn't about escaping or forgetting, but embracing and integrating every facet of your being. The chamber begins to shift, the walls dissolving into a star-filled expanse. The figures around you fade, leaving you alone amidst the cosmos. A voice echoes, both yours and not. "In understanding ourselves, we understand the universe." You close your eyes, letting the revelation wash over you, ready to continue the journey of self-discovery and transformation. You find yourself in the back seat of a taxi, the cityscape blurring past the window. The driver doesn't speak, but the silence is heavy with anticipation. The vehicle comes to a halt in front of a peculiar establishment, a frog farm. The sign is faded, the letters barely legible, yet it beckons you. Stepping out, you're immediately met with a cacophony of croaks and the pungent scent of damp earth. Rows upon rows of enclosures stretch out before you, each teeming with frogs of various sizes and colors. As you walk through, the frogs turn to face you, their eyes unblinking. Suddenly, a chorus of voices erupts, not from the frogs but from the people tending to them. They point at you, their expressions a mix of confusion and disdain. "He's not even a frog," one says. "He's a salamander," another chimes in. The words sting, not because of their content, but because of the conviction behind them. You look down at your hands, your skin glistening and smooth, unlike the textured skin of the frogs. A realization dawns, you are different. The weight of their judgment becomes unbearable. You turn and flee, the laughter and accusations echoing in your ears. Back at the hospital, your body feels foreign. Your skin begins to melt, not in pain, but in transformation. It's as if the very essence of your being is dissolving, revealing something new beneath. You stumble through the corridors, seeking solace, understanding, anything. In the waiting area, a mother sits with her young daughter. As you approach, the mother gasps, pulling her child close. "Don't look," she whispers, shielding her daughter's eyes. The rejection is palpable, not just from strangers, but from the very society you once belonged to. You retreat, finding a secluded corner, curling into yourself. In this moment of despair, a thought surfaces: is this who I truly am? Or is this a metamorphosis into who I'm meant to be? The journey continues, each step a confrontation with self, society, and the ever-blurring lines between reality and perception. As the taxi continues to approaches the outskirts of Frog City, a sense of déjà vu washes over you. The familiar croaks and chirps fill the air, but something feels different. The city seems to shimmer, its edges indistinct, as if it's caught between dimensions. Stepping out of the taxi, you're immediately met with a cacophony of voices. The inhabitants of Frog City gather around, their eyes wide with recognition, or is it confusion? They point at you, their fingers trembling. "He's not even a frog," one whispers. He's a salamander," another declares. The words echo in your mind, a haunting refrain from your previous visit. But this time, there's no malice, only curiosity. The frogs approach, their gazes filled with wonder. Suddenly, the world shifts. The frogs begin to change, their forms melting and reforming into new shapes. Rose and Harry transform before your eyes, their features morphing into unfamiliar visages. Even your own reflection in a nearby pond reveals a different face, one you don't recognize. Panic sets in. Who are you? Who are they? The boundaries of identity blur, and the world becomes a kaleidoscope of shifting forms. You stumble back into the hospital, your body feeling foreign. Your skin begins to melt, not in pain, but in transformation. It's as if the very essence of your being is dissolving, revealing something new beneath. In this moment of despair, a thought surfaces. Is this who I truly am? Or is this a metamorphosis into who I'm meant to be? As you sit in solitude, the world around you begins to stabilize. The melting ceases, and your form solidifies into something new, something unique. You realize that the transformations, the shifting identities, were not losses but evolutions. The people of Frog City, now in their new forms, approach you with reverence. They see you not as an outsider, but as a pioneer, someone who embraced change and emerged stronger. Rose and Harry, their new identities settled, smile at you. "Welcome back," they say in unison. "You understand now." Identity is not fixed but fluid, a constant journey of self-discovery and adaptation. And in this ever-changing world, embracing transformation is the key to finding your true self. You find yourself in the backseat of a taxi once more, the cityscape morphing into a kaleidoscope of colors and sounds. Beside you sit Rose and Harry, their eyes gleaming with excitement. "We're going back to Frog City," Rose announces, clutching her phone tightly. "There's a rare spawn we can't miss." Harry nods, his fingers already tapping away on his device. It's the adventure of a lifetime. As the taxi weaves through the ever-changing streets, you can't help but feel a sense of unease. The world outside seems distorted, as if viewed through a funhouse mirror. Buildings twist and contort, and the sky pulses with unnatural hues. Upon arrival, Frog City is unrecognizable. The once familiar landmarks have transformed into fantastical structures, teeming with vibrant colors and otherworldly creatures. The air is thick with anticipation, and the streets buzz with energy. Rose and Harry immediately immerse themselves in the game, chasing elusive monsters through the labyrinthine alleys. Their laughter echoes, but there's an edge to it, a manic intensity that sets your nerves on edge. As you wander the city, you notice the inhabitants have changed. Faces shift and morph, identities blending and blurring. A passerby greets you with a nod. "What's up, frog?" The term feels loaded, as if it's both a greeting and a label. You glance at your reflection in a shop window and gasp. Your features have altered subtly, your eyes larger, skin smoother, limbs more elongated. The transformation is unsettling, yet oddly fitting in this bizarre landscape. Rose approaches, her eyes wide with exhilaration. "Isn't this amazing? We've become part of the game." Harry joins her, his grin stretched unnaturally wide. "We're the ultimate trainers now." You try to speak, to express your confusion, but the words catch in your throat. The city pulses around you, alive and sentient, drawing you deeper into its embrace. Days, or perhaps hours, pass in a blur. Time loses meaning in Frog City. Rose and Harry are inseparable from their devices, their identities consumed by the game. They speak in terms of levels, stats, and rare catches, their former selves fading into obscurity. You attempt to hold on to your sense of self, but it's a losing battle. The city's influence seeps into your thoughts, your dreams. You begin to see the world through the game's lens. Every interaction a potential quest, every person a character. One evening, you encounter a group gathered around a glowing portal. They chant in unison, their voices melding into a haunting melody. As you approach, they turn to you, their eyes void of emotion. "Join us," they intone. "Embrace your true form." You hesitate, the pull of the portal strong. Images flash before your eyes, memories of your past, fragments of your identity. With a surge of willpower, you step back, breaking the spell. The group disperses, their forms dissolving into the night. You stand alone, the city's lights dimming around you. Determined to reclaim your identity, you seek out the heart of Frog City. Navigating the twisting streets, you arrive at a towering structure pulsating with energy. Inside, a chamber bathed in light awaits. At its center stands a mirror, its surface rippling like water. You approach cautiously, peering into its depths. Your reflection stares back, a fusion of your former self and the transformations imposed by the city. Taking a deep breath, you reach out and touch the mirror. A surge of energy courses through you, memories flooding back. The city's grip loosens, and clarity returns. You awaken in the hospital, the sterile white walls a stark contrast to the vibrant chaos of Frog City. Rose and Harry sit beside you, their eyes clear, devices set aside. "We're back," Rose whispers. Harry nods, a hint of a smile on his lips. "The game's over." You smile, relief washing over you. The journey through Frog City has ended, but the lessons learned remain etched in your soul. You find yourself in a tranquil clearing, the air thick with anticipation. Smalls stands beside you, her eyes wide with wonder and a hint of trepidation. "Flying isn't about wings," you say, your voice calm and reassuring. "It's about belief, about feeling the air around you and trusting it to hold you." Smalls looks skeptical. "But how do I start?" You smile, recalling your own first flight. Think of it like floating in a hot tub. You don't force yourself to float, you relax, let go, and the water holds you up. The air can do the same if you let it. She closes her eyes, taking a deep breath. Slowly she lifts off the ground, hovering a few inches above. Her eyes snap open, filled with astonishment. "I'm doing it!" "Yes," you nod. Flying is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. Days pass, the cards shuffle and Smalls becomes more confident, soaring higher and longer with each attempt. The sky becomes her playground, the clouds her companions. One evening, as the sun sets, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, Smalls turns to you mid-flight. "Thank you," she says, "for teaching me to believe." You smile, watching her silhouette against the fading light. Sometimes all we need is a little faith and someone to show us the way. As you both glide through the twilight, the world below fades, leaving only the boundless sky and the promise of endless possibilities. Scene: Timothy and Smalls are floating above the city, the sky painted with hues of orange and pink as the sun sets. Timothy, Smalls, flying isn't just about defying gravity. It's about embracing the freedom to be who you truly are. Smalls, I never thought I'd be up here, soaring through the sky. It's liberating, but also a bit terrifying. Timothy, that's the beauty of it. Facing the unknown, confronting our fears, and emerging stronger. For me, flying represents transformation, shedding old identities and embracing new ones. Smalls, I see. For me, it's about connection. Up here I feel connected to everything, the wind, the clouds, the world below. It's a reminder that we're all part of something bigger. Timothy, exactly. Our journeys may differ, but they intersect in meaningful ways. Your desire for connection complements my quest for transformation. Together we find balance. Smalls, it's fascinating how our individual themes intertwine, creating a richer narrative. By understanding each other, we gain deeper insights into ourselves. Timothy, indeed. Our stories are threads in a larger tapestry, each adding color and texture. Embracing our unique paths while supporting one another enriches the journey. They continue to glide through the sky, the conversation deepening their bond and illuminating the interconnectedness of their experiences. Scene: a vast ethereal meadow bathed in twilight. Timothy and Smalls are joined by a diverse group of beings, each representing different facets of existence. The grove resonates with a harmonious melody, the embodiment of their shared understanding and unity. The ethereal meadow transforms into a vast, interconnected web of light, each strand representing a character's journey. Timothy, Jeff, I've traversed realms both tangible and intangible, shedding identities like old skins. Each transformation was a step towards understanding the multifaceted nature of existence. Jeff, Timothy, your journey is a tapestry woven with threads of introspection and metamorphosis. Tell me, what have you discovered in these myriad experiences? Timothy, I've learned that identity isn't a fixed construct, but a fluid amalgamation of experiences, choices, and reflections. In Frog City, I was labeled a salamander, an outsider. Yet, that alienation led me to confront the core of my being, to question and redefine myself. Jeff, and in that questioning, did you find clarity or further complexity? Timothy, both. Clarity in recognizing the impermanence of labels, and complexity in embracing the ever-evolving self. Each encounter, each challenge, added a new dimension to my understanding. Jeff, sits reminiscent of the philosophical explorations by thinkers like Timothy Morton and Jeff Vandermeer, who delve into the interconnectedness of beings and the fluidity of identity. Timothy, indeed. Our narratives are not isolated, they intersect, influence, and reshape one another. In sharing my story, I see reflections of others, and in their stories, fragments of myself. Jeff, as we approach the culmination of your journey, what lies ahead? Timothy, a confrontation with the embodiment of unity and solitude, the astronaut god, a being that represents the convergence of all experiences, the nexus of transformation and understanding. Jeff, then let us proceed, Timothy. Together we'll navigate the final frontier of your odyssey. The meadow begins to shimmer, signaling the transition to the next phase of Timothy's journey, a voyage towards the astronaut god, where the culmination of experiences awaits. Absolutely. Let's dive into the dream. This chapter unfolds in the language of dream logic and stream of consciousness, where meaning is fluid, and the reader is invited to lose themselves in the truth that emerges from the surreal tapestry of thoughts and images. You wake up inside a question, not a room, not a bed, but a question shaped like a hallway that curves back into itself. The walls are lined with mirrors, but they reflect not your image, but your memories, some yours, some borrowed, all flickering like old film reels. A voice whispers, "Remember?" But the voice is your own, and it's coming from the mirrors. You try to answer, but your words come out as butterflies, fluttering away before you can grasp them. You walk, or perhaps you float. It's hard to tell in this place where gravity is a suggestion rather than a rule. The floor beneath you pulses with each step, echoing with the heartbeat of the universe. Time here is not linear, it's a spiral, looping back on itself, moments folding into each other like the pages of a well-read book. You encounter a door labeled "All of Who You Are." You hesitate, hand hovering over the knob, which feels both cold and warm to the touch. Opening it, you're met with a kaleidoscope of scenes, a child laughing, a tear falling, a hand reaching out, a door closing. Each image is a fragment, a piece of the mosaic that forms your identity. In the center of the room stands a figure composed of stardust and shadows. It turns to you, and you realize it's you, not as you are, but as you could be, as you have been, as you will be. It smiles, and the room dissolves into light. You are falling, flying, floating through a sky painted with the hues of emotions you've yet to name. Stars whisper secrets as you pass, and you collect them, tucking them into the pockets of your soul. And then, you wake up. But the question remains, echoing in the chambers of your mind, who are you? This chapter is a journey through the subconscious, embracing the techniques of stream of consciousness and dream logic to explore the depths of identity and self-perception. By immersing the reader in a world where reality is fluid and time is nonlinear, it invites introspection and a deeper understanding of the self. In the midnight of my mind, I wade into the deep water. The surface shatters softly around my thighs as I move further from the safe shore of reason. Above me, the night sky is starless, an infinite black mirror. Below the water's skin lies an even deeper darkness. My heart flutters between curiosity and dread, each step heavier as the warmth of the sand gives way to the cold unknown. Yet I am drawn onward, compelled by a silent calling from beneath the waves. Timothy, the lantern guide. A gentle voice calls my name through the hush of night. Turning, I see Timothy standing where water meets air, holding aloft a lantern that glows with a patient golden light. His face is youthful, yet lined with ancient care, an ageless guide in this nocturnal voyage. The water barely ripples at his feet, as if he were weightless, a figure both real and unreal, present and yet fading at the edges. In his calm gaze, I catch the reflection of a distant sunrise, as though dawn already waits within the lantern he carries. He speaks, and each word lands softly like a drop into still water, sending expanding rings of meaning through my mind. "Do you remember why you came?" Timothy asks, his voice low and kind, yet it resounds in the dark water around us. I struggle to answer. My purpose feels blurred by the currents of doubt. Instead of responding, I simply bow my head, and he seems to understand my silence. "Fear not the unknown depth," he continues, raising the lantern a little higher, "for within it lies the truth you seek. Every step into darkness is a step toward your own light." His words echo through the water, both reassurance and challenge at once. For a moment, warmth from his lantern falls upon me, and I feel an ember of courage ignite in my chest. Timothy's presence steadies me, In his gentle admonition and encouragement, I sense an older brother, a guardian angel at my side. With a slight nod of gratitude, I turn away from the shore and face the vast darkness ahead. Timothy remains behind at the water's edge, a solitary beacon watching over my descent. His light grows fainter with each stride I take, but its memory stays with me, warding off the absolute terror of the abyss. Rose, bloom beneath the waves. Deeper into the quiet gloom I swim, and soon a tender glow unfurls ahead of me. In the water's dim twilight, I see delicate shapes drifting around my body, rose petals, crimson and velvety, impossibly intact in this sunless place. They swirl past like tokens of grace, and I follow their trail. The petals lead me to the silhouette of a woman hovering in the currents. Rose emerges from the darkness as if from a dream, her form swaying gently underwater like a flower on a long stem. Her hair fans out in a halo of copper strands that resemble petals themselves, and her white dress billows around her, a ghostly bloom sustained by the sea. The water does not choke her, it carries her as naturally as air, as if she and the deep have an understanding. I approach slowly, enraptured by the calm that radiates from her. Rose's face is illuminated by a diffuse glow with no obvious source, perhaps the light of memory. When she turns her eyes to me, I see they are filled with a soft sorrow and profound compassion. A silent melody seems to hum in the water between us. I realize I am holding my breath, not out of need, for in this dreamlike depth I can breathe as one does in a dream, but in reverence, afraid any disturbance might cause her to vanish. Rose smiles faintly and reaches out, brushing a lock of hair from my forehead with ethereal gentleness. Her voice reaches me without a sound, a vibration through the water. "You've come so far into the dark," she whispers, each word a calm wave. "What is it you hope to find here?" The question drifts around me in glimmering bubbles. It stirs an old ache in my chest, and I suddenly recall the emptiness that drove me below the surface. In her presence, I am overwhelmed by longing and remembrance. I think of sunlit days I once knew, moments of joy and innocence that now feel submerged. A vision blooms in my mind, a younger version of me and Rose herself, laughing together in a bright garden long ago. Is it a memory or a gentle dream the water conjures? I feel the warmth of that lost sun for an instant, but it fades, and I am here in the deep again, face to face with what I lost. A lump forms in my throat, and looking for something I lost. A part of me, I murmur, though I'm not sure Rose can hear me in the water. My voice arrives as a trail of bubbles that quickly burst. Rose's eyes shimmer with understanding. "Even here, you carry the echo of what you've lost," she says softly. "Even in darkness, a rose can bloom, just as hope can grow in the ocean of despair." Her words are a gentle contradiction, a promise that light survives in the deepest night. As she speaks, one of her rose-petal lips trembles, and I sense she knows about loss as well. Perhaps she, too, is a fragment of my own heart, the part that still remembers beauty. I reach out, wanting to hold on to Rose, this embodiment of love and wistful memory. My fingers graze her hand, and for a second I feel warmth and comfort, a tenderness like a mother's embrace or a lover's touch. But as I try to clasp her fingers, they turn to silken petal and slip away. Rose's form is unraveling, petals peel away from her skin, red and glowing, spiraling around me. "No, please stay," I plead, my voice cracking. The petals brush my cheeks like the tears I cannot shed underwater. Rose meets my eyes one last time, her face already fragmenting into a cloud of petals, and there is a bittersweet smile on her lips. "I am always with you," her disembodied voice resonates gently as her figure scatters. One by one, the crimson petals drift downward into the infinite deep, carrying with them the light she brought. I am left in darkness once more, arms outstretched in the water, grasping nothing but the memory of her warmth. My chest throbs with both gratitude and grief. Even as I mourn her fading, I feel a newfound resolve kindling inside me, the realization that what I seek will not be found by clinging to the past. I must continue downward. The last petal disappears into the black below, and almost immediately the water around me turns cold again. A shiver runs through my body. In the corner of my eye, something moves. A shadow deeper than the surrounding dark, passing swiftly. I spin in the water, heart pounding. Rose's gentle glow is gone, and an oppressive weight begins to fill the void. I am not alone here. There is something else in the deep, something massive and stirring, disturbed perhaps by the light and warmth that briefly bloomed in its domain. The sense of being watched by unseen eyes prickles the back of my neck. The silent calling that drew me downward now grows thunderous in my ears, like the beating of a war drum. Steeling myself, I push on, descending further into the black maw of the abyss. Harry, the beast in the deep. From the darkness below, a shape emerges, first indistinct, then horrifyingly clear as it rises to meet me. A pair of huge luminescent eyes snap open in the void, shining with a predatory green light. They illuminate a hulking figure covered in what looks like swirling moss or matted fur, impossibly drifting underwater. Harry comes into view with a sinuous, powerful motion, a beast of the deep, all rippling muscle and wild tangles. Long, shaggy limbs or tentacles, I cannot be sure, float around its body like an aura of darkness. Its face is obscured by the mane of kelp-like hair, but I catch glimpses of gnashing teeth behind a lipless mouth, and the glint of claws or talons flexing in the murk. The water itself trembles at Harry's arrival. The currents churn with his each movement, stirring up clouds of silt from the ocean floor far beneath. Every instinct in me screams to flee, but my body is paralyzed by awe and terror. A low growl vibrates through the depths, reverberating in my bones. Harry circles me slowly, each motion deliberate and predatory. In the faint bioluminescent glow of his eyes, I see the water around us tinted sickly green. Kelp strands and drifting debris catch on the creature's hairy hide. He is the very image of a nightmare lurking below consciousness, the shadow of fear given form. My heart hammers against my ribs. I can taste copper panic in my mouth, even as I remind myself I'm in a dreamlike realm. It's not real, I try to think, but it feels real, and the difference is academic to my racing mind. Without warning, Harry speaks, or something speaks through him. A voice gurgles up from his throat, low and guttural, like rocks grinding together. Intruder. The beast growls, the word rippling the water. Why have you come to my kingdom of dark? Each syllable is thick, wrapped in scorn and an ancient hunger. I see rows of jagged teeth as the word dark snarls out, and a cloud of bubbles escapes his maw. I realize I am trembling. Fear unlike any I've known clutches me, the primal terror of being deep underwater, face to face with a monstrous unknown. My limbs feel leaden. I instinctively back away, kicking weakly in the water. Harry's glowing eyes track my every move. I sense that he could lunge and snuff me out in an instant. Turn back, the voice rattles through the deep, emanating from all around as Harry's form blurs in the darkness. You dare descend into places not meant for the likes of you. This depth will devour you. On the word devour, he opens his jaws, and a ghastly grin splits the hairy visage. I catch sight of a cavernous gullet beyond those teeth, an abyss within the abyss. My stomach churns with dread. A faint spark of defiance flares in me, born of the courage Timothy's light instilled, and the hope Rose's presence kindled. I have come too far to turn back now. Even as fear threatens to unmake me, I clench my fists and force myself to meet those emerald eyes. I will not run. My voice comes out small but resolute. I have come to claim what's mine. Even if I must walk through nightmare, the last word wavers, but I hold my ground, or rather, my place in the water. Harry responds with a terrible roar, a soundless roar that I feel in pressure waves. The water heaves and I'm thrown backward, tumbling head over heels. I right myself just in time to see the beast rushing at me, arms outstretched. In an instant, I'm ensnared, wrapped in weed-like hairy limbs. A powerful arm coils around my torso, another grips my legs. Claws rake lightly against my back, a warning of the pain they could inflict. I'm dragged downward at a dizzying speed. The world becomes a whirl of bubbles and blackness as we plunge. This is it, a panicked thought screams. I'm going to be dragged into the bottomless deep and drowned. Instinctively, I thrash and fight, but it's like wrestling a flood, futile and exhausting. The more I struggle, the tighter Harry's coils squeeze. Cold water presses in from all sides, and my chest burns. For a moment, I'm not sure if I'm actually drowning or just losing myself to pure terror. Desperate, I shut my eyes. In the chaos, fragments of memory flash, Timothy's lantern glowing steady, Rose's petals brushing my cheek. Remember why you came. Timothy's question echoes in my mind. Through the haze of fear, I recall I chose to come here. This is my descent. This beast constraining me. Could he be another part of this surreal design, a part of me? The thought cuts through the panic like a shaft of light. My wild flailing slows. Harry's crushing hold, still fierce, feels oddly familiar, like the grip of my own anger, my own fear that never wanted to let me go. I stop fighting. Instead, with great effort, I unclench my fists and let my arms fall open, a posture of surrender. I am face to face with Harry's chest, tangled in his snare of limbs and hair. Instead of trying to tear free, I press my open palm to the creature's heaving, furred torso. Through the thick hair, I feel the thud of a mighty heartbeat. It's racing just as wildly as mine. Incredibly, beneath the monstrous rage, Harry is afraid too. My intuition is confirmed when those luminescent eyes widen in surprise at my gentle touch. The beast's grip falters for just a second. Seizing that moment, not to escape but to confront, I twist to meet his gaze directly. "I am not afraid of you," I say, though my voice trembles. "Because I know what you are." Harry snarls, but uncertainty flickers across his face. The green glow of his eyes wavers. Claws that were poised to tear into me hesitate in midair. "You are my fear," I continue, my words pouring out with a strange calm. "And I accept you. You are part of me, but you will not control me." Speaking these words, I feel my heart steady in my chest. Harry lets out a pained, gurgling groan, a sound of anguish and defiance. His coils loosen. I slip from his grasp, now floating freely just a foot away from his towering form. The beast rears back, thrashing in the water as if burned. For a moment I fear he will strike in fury, but then I see it. The coils of hair and shadow that compose his body are unraveling, just as Rose's petals did. With each convulsion of his frame, tufts of dark fur drift off and dissolve into the water. His outline is coming apart. He fixes me with one last look, something like relief softening the feral hatred in his eyes, and then the great beast simply disintegrates. What was once solid becomes an amorphous cloud of silt and darkness, and then even that dissipates into the surrounding sea. In seconds, Harry is gone. Only a faint echo of his roar reverberates and then fades to silence. I find myself alone again, heart pounding and limbs shaking from the encounter. But I am alive, and I am moving ever deeper. The water here is utterly still now, as though the beast's vanishing has pacified the environment. Tiny motes of bioluminescent plankton drift around me in newly tranquil currents, lighting the way like blue-green stars in a night sky. I take a moment to catch my breath. Strange how real that reflex feels in this unreal place, and realize something within me has shifted. The mortal terror that nearly overwhelmed me moments ago has given way to a tentative courage. I faced the darkest terror of my soul and survived. A part of me, the part Harry symbolized, has been acknowledged and integrated, and it no longer wields the same power over me. Above, where I came from, all was midnight black. Below, I now notice a subtle glow is beginning to appear. Far beneath my feet, which tread water gently as I hover, a pale radiance shines, the first hint of light from the ocean floor. Gathering myself, I point my body downward and kick, following that beacon. The water grows warmer and clearer as I descend, as if I've passed through some thermal layer separating fear from enlightenment. My ears ring with a profound silence. The after echo of Harry's roar has faded, and now there is only the soft thrumming of my own heartbeat to accompany me into the unknown. Lay, the luminous scholar. The oppressive blackness gradually thins into a blue twilight, and the silt settles out of the water, granting me clarity of sight again. Threads of soft light begin to dance around me, little ribbons of luminescence that curl and twist as if alive. They weave a delicate lattice in the water, forming shapes like glowing calligraphy in an unreadable language. The shapes gather and coalesce before me, and I realize they are taking on a human form. In a gentle burst of phosphorescence, the figure becomes distinct. La stands suspended in the water's depths, cloaked in a robe of pale light. I cannot discern La's gender. Their features are androgynous and ethereal, as if carved from moonlight. Long silver hair floats around their head like a halo, and their skin emits a faint shimmer, outlining a slender, graceful frame. La's eyes are opalescent, shifting hues of pearl and sky blue, and within them I see the reflection of distant stars. This being's presence is powerful but not intimidating. It feels like the solemn hush inside a great library, or a cathedral at midnight. I sense wisdom emanating from them in waves, tuning the water to a higher frequency of calm. La smiles softly in greeting, a knowing, compassionate smile. "You have done well to come this far," they say. Their voice is gentle and resonant, each word articulated clearly as if spoken directly into my mind, though I hear it with my ears. It has an otherworldly timbre, echoing slightly, and the sound makes the water itself vibrate with warmth. You have faced what frightened you and embraced what you love, yet still you continue deeper. Few have the courage to seek the truth in the bottom of their soul. I float before this luminous scholar like a humble student, feeling oddly shy under Lei's penetrating gaze. For the first time in this entire journey, I find the courage to speak first. What lies at the end of this descent? I ask, my voice almost reverent. The question leaves my lips in a trail of air bubbles that rise and pop, but Les seems to hear the meaning behind them perfectly. Le tilts their head slightly, regarding me with kindness. Instead of answering outright, they extend one glowing hand towards me, palm up. In that palm, lights swirl and condense, forming an image suspended in water. I lean closer and see it is a likeness of me, a tiny floating figure with arms outstretched. Around this figure orbit smaller shapes. I see a spark that resembles Timothy's lantern flame, a tiny rosebud, a miniature dark beast like a chess piece, each circling the central figure. Every truth you have encountered is a part of you, Le explains in a musical voice, narrating the vision before us. The guide, the beloved, the beast, all fragments orbiting your core. I watch mesmerized, as the little floating figure, a facsimile of myself, reaches out and draws each orbiting fragment into itself. With each piece absorbed, the figure's glow intensifies. Le closes their hand gently, and the image disperses back into drifting light. At the end of your descent, they finally continue. You shall find what all those fragments together point to. My brow furrows as I consider their words. The water around us feels charged with significance. They're pointing to me, to my true self? I ask quietly. The realization is dawning even as I speak it. Timothy's steadfast guidance, Rose's love and loss, Harry's fearsome challenge. Each has revealed something essential about me. Lei's eyes shine approvingly. In the depths of the self lie revelations as vast as any ocean, they say. Yes, what you seek is your own essence, the piece lost to you, hidden under layers of fear, sorrow, and time. They drift a little closer and gently place a hand over my heart. Though I am underwater, I feel the warmth of that touch radiate through my chest. But be warned, the truth can appear as a reflection, and not all are ready to face the reflection honestly. I meet Les' gaze steadily now, bolstered by their touch. I'm ready, I reply, and I mean it. Whatever remains, whatever final trial or knowledge awaits, I feel an eagerness tinged with anxiety, yes, but eagerness nonetheless to face it and become whole. Lei's lips curve in a proud, bittersweet smile. There is a hint of sadness in their ancient eyes as they begin to fade, the glow enveloping them starting to disperse. One step remains, their voice echoes softly. Beyond this point, you face the deepest mirror. Remember, no matter what you see, hold fast to compassion. The shimmering outline of their form begins to unravel into the same luminous filaments that first formed it. Alarmed at the thought of them leaving, I reach out. Wait, please. There are so many more questions I could ask. Will I truly find what I lost? Have others come this far? But love gently shakes their head as if to say, this is as far as their guidance goes. Before their face dissolves entirely, I catch one last expression in Lei's eyes. Absolute faith in me. We shall meet again, in ways you will understand later, their voice whispers, now seeming to come from all around, the voice of the water itself. You are never truly alone in the deep. With that, the filaments of light unwind and twirl away, merging with the faint glow emanating from below. Le is gone, and I am once more alone, but not the same as before. I feel a clarity in my mind, as though Lei's wisdom has lit a lamp in the halls of my thoughts. The fear is at bay, the sorrow has gentled, knowledge and understanding now guide me. The water ahead is faintly illuminated by some unseen source far beneath, and I know exactly where I must go. With a strong kick, I propel myself downward, towards whatever final truth awaits in the nadir of this subconscious sea. Ope, the reflection. The water grows strangely still, almost viscous, as I descend into the final depth. An uncanny quietude surrounds me. Even the thrumming of my heartbeat seems muffled. I sense that I am entering a sacred space, the innermost chamber of this underwater world. The glow from below intensifies, not bright but pearlescent, casting a silvery sheen in the water. It's enough that I can see a short distance ahead now without Timothy's lantern or bioluminescent plankton. The ocean floor slopes gently upward here, forming a natural amphitheater of smooth sand. In the center of that open space, the water itself gleams like a polished mirror, perfectly reflecting the void above. Suspended just above that mirror-like patch of water is a solitary figure. My breath catches, the figure is me. Or rather, it appears to be me, down to the tiniest detail. OP floats with an eerie stillness, arms gently outspread. Their hair the same color and shape as mine fans around their head. The clothes they wear are a flowing version of what I think I'm wearing now, but darker, and moving as if in a gentle current. OP's eyes are closed, giving them a peaceful, statue-like quality. I cautiously drift closer, stopping a few yards away. At this distance, facing this uncanny double, I feel a sudden heaviness in the water, as if gravity itself has increased. My chest tightens with an emotion I can't name. It's not fear exactly, but a kind of solemn anxiety. I now understand Les' warning, the deepest mirror. This is my reflection, given life and form. As if sensing my presence, Ope's eyes snap open. A jolt goes through me. Their eyes are my eyes, identical in color and shape, but the way they gaze at me is utterly unfamiliar. There's a piercing clarity in them, a direct, unflinching stare that bores into my soul. It's like looking at myself stripped of all pretenses. For a long moment, neither of us speaks. We simply regard each other in the silent deep. Bubbles trickle from the corner of my mouth as I exhale nervously, but OP does not seem to need to breathe. They are eerily calm, composed, and I, in contrast, feel naked. It's as though this reflected self can see every secret, every weakness inside me. At last, OP tilts their head slightly, breaking the perfect mirror pose. A faint smile tugs at one corner of their mouth. When they speak, the voice is mine as well, the tone, the pitch, but layered with an echo that makes it sound distant and hollow. So, OP addresses me. You've come all this way to find yourself. They pronounce yourself with a note of irony, as if the concept is amusing. Hearing my own voice spoken back to me from outside sends a chill down my spine. I swallow hard and nod. I have, I answer, my voice small but resolute in the vast quiet. Ope's smile thinly widens. There is a sharpness to it that I don't like, a knife's edge hidden in courtesy. You've traversed fear and memory, wisdom and pain, the reflection says, slowly drifting in a small circle around me. I rotate to keep facing them, never letting those eyes off mine. Tell me, traveler, what did you learn? Do you know who you are now? The question is posed almost casually, but I can hear the gravity in it. It's the ultimate question, the heart of this entire journey. I open my mouth to answer and then close it again. The truth is, I'm not entirely sure how to put it into words. Have I discovered who I am? I have learned that I carry light and darkness, love and fear within me. I've learned I lost a part of myself, and I'm seeking it here. But who am I, truly? Seeing my hesitation, Op chuckles softly, a sound that bounces off the watery walls of this chamber. Perhaps you are nothing more than a collection of those parts, they murmur, eyes glinting. A patchwork of Timothy's borrowed courage, Rose's lingering emotion, Harry's primal rage, Lee's cryptic knowledge. Is there even a real you beneath it all? Their words drip into me like venom. I realize they are voicing the doubt that lurks in my own mind. What if I am only what others have made me? What if at the core I am empty? My stomach twists. I am real, I say, but it sounds defensive and uncertain. The reflection's grin grows. They dart closer in a sudden disorienting motion, until they are a mere foot from me. Now we are face to face, twin visages almost touching. I flinch at the proximity, at confronting myself so directly. Are you? Op whispers, cocking their head. How can you be sure? You've peeled back layer after layer, but maybe there's nothing left underneath. Maybe you came all this way only to find a void? Their words strike with cruel precision, and a wave of despair threatens to well up. For a moment, the water feels colder. Is it possible? Did I undertake this journey thinking I'd find a treasure, a missing piece, only to discover an empty chest? But no, that cannot be. I refuse to accept that. I squeeze my eyes shut, breaking the visual lock with my doppelganger, and in that darkness of my own mind I see them. Timothy shining his lantern, Rose smiling sadly, Harry roaring his challenge, Le guiding me with light. They were not nothing. They were pieces of me, yes, but not nothing. Each revealed something true. I inhale deeply, feeling water fill my lungs without pain. A reminder that here, normal rules do not apply. I open my eyes and look firmly at Op. I am more than a void, I answer, and my voice no longer trembles. Timothy, Rose, Harry, Le. They are parts of me, but together they are more. I am more. I am the one who sought them out, the one who endured and learned. I am the traveler, the dreamer, the sum and the sum maker. OP's expression changes subtly, the mocking glint in their eyes dims. I catch a flicker of something like uncertainty, or is it pain? They drift back a few inches. The Summaker? They echo, an unfamiliar softness in the tone. Yes, I press on. Speaking the words is empowering me. Maybe I am made of many parts, but I choose what to make of them. I'm not an empty shell. I am the weaver of my own tapestry, and every thread, courage, love, fear, wisdom, is part of my design. As I speak, I feel a warmth unfurl in my chest. It is confidence, fragile but growing, like a newborn flame. For the first time, OP breaks our gaze, looking downwards as if pondering my declaration. The domineering aura about them wavers. If that is so, they say quietly, then what need have you of me, this reflection? There is a hint of melancholy in the question. I slowly reach out my hand toward Op. They do not recoil but watch curiously, warily. You are a part of me too, I say gently. Perhaps the part that doubts, the part that judges and hides. The face I show the world maybe, or the voice in my head that I'm harsh to myself with. My fingertips hover just before theirs, a mirror image about to connect. I don't want to banish you. I want to accept you, integrate you, just as I did with my fear. We don't have to be at odds. OP's eyes widen slightly. I see them glisten as if with unshed tears. For a moment, their form flickers, that perfect mirroring destabilizing. You would accept me? They whisper. It's my voice, but filled with vulnerability now, an almost childlike tremor. In answer, I nod and close the gap, taking their hand in mine. It feels solid, warm, not the cold phantom I half expected. We grip each other, mirror hands clasped. I feel a surge of emotion from OP, a wave of loneliness and longing that pours through the touch. It's as if this reflected self has waited ages for that acceptance. Something shifts in the waters around us. The mirror surface below ripples outward in gentle circles. OP's shape begins to ripple too, blurring at the edges. I tighten my hold, afraid they might dissolve like the others, but a gentle squeeze from their hand reassures me. Thank you, OP breathes, and I realize a tear has slipped from their eye, floating free like a tiny crystal orb. I watch in wonder as OP's form becomes insubstantial, the defined features softening into pure light. The outline of me that they carried disperses, and what remains is a glowing silhouette, a human-shaped window into light. For a moment, I see a radiant smile, not separate from me at all, but within me. The light form of Op drifts forward and passes directly into my chest. I gasp as I absorb the glow. It doesn't hurt, on the contrary, it feels like a missing warmth sliding into place. I understand now, the reflection was returning to where it belongs. I place a hand over my heart and close my eyes. I sense Op's presence inside, not gone, but unified. There's a profound silence and serenity in this chamber now. The mirror pool below is calm and empty, reflecting only me floating above it. I exhale, and it feels like releasing the last bit of tension that had knotted in my soul. Yet, something remains, a tug at the edge of my awareness. Despite this newfound wholeness, I feel that the journey is not fully complete. Lei's voice echoes in memory, the piece lost to you, hidden under layers of fear, sorrow, and time. I have confronted fear, sorrow, doubt, and something is still hidden. I sense it now just beyond sight. I glance downward past my reflection in the still water below. There, on the sandy floor of the abyssal chamber, I notice a small hunched shape that I hadn't seen before. It was concealed in the darkness behind where OP stood, and now that the bright reflection has merged with me, the shape becomes clear. It is a lone figure, small and curled in on itself, sitting in the sand. My heart gives a lurch. I gently kick my feet to descend the last few yards and let them touch the soft seabed. A fine cloud of silt swirls up as I land. I stand upright in the water, only a step away from the little figure. They sit with head bowed and arms wrapped around their knees. The water here is suffused with a gentle, diffuse light, perhaps emanating from me now, so I can see that the figure is a child, Smalls, the innocent. Slowly, I approach the child who rests at the very bottom of this deep water world. They are so small and still that a protective instinct surges in me. Smalls. The name arises in my mind like an echo, and I know it must be them. This is the last of the central characters of my story, waiting quietly at the journey's end. The child's shoulders shake slightly, and I realize they are sobbing soundlessly into their folded arms. Each sob causes a tiny stream of bubbles to escape into the water. The sight pierces me more deeply than any monster's claw, Kneeling down on one knee in the sand, I lean closer and speak as softly as I can. "Hello?" My voice is gentle, barely more than a thought. The child flinches at the intrusion and lifts their head with caution. I find myself looking into a pair of wide, tearful eyes. They are the color of morning sky, a familiar color. The child has a face I recognize instantly. It's my own face from years and years ago. I feel as if I'm gazing through time at the person I used to be. Smalls sniffles, trying to stifle their crying. Pale hair floats around their head, and they hug their knees tightly, small fingers digging into skinny arms. They look frightened, lonely, and so very fragile in this immense abyss. A lump forms in my throat. "It's you. It's me, isn't it?" I whisper. The child gives a tiny nod, eyes never leaving mine. Those eyes are full of hurt. I suddenly recall vivid flashes of memory. A child frightened of the dark. A child left alone with heavy secrets. A child who loved freely and was wounded by loss. This is me, my inner child, the innocent core that I abandoned somewhere along the path to adulthood. Tears I didn't know I could still cry, underwater brim in my eyes. "I'm sorry," I choke out. "I'm so sorry I left you here all alone." My voice cracks, and a few of my own tears break free, shimmering as they ascend slowly like tiny jellyfish. Smalls blinks at me, and their lower lip quivers. "I waited for you," they manage to say in a small, trembling voice. The tone carries no blame, only a profound sadness. "I was afraid, so I hid. I've been here in the dark for so long." Each word emerges as a string of silver bubbles, as delicate as the voice uttering them. I reach out both arms slowly, not wanting to startle them. They watch me with cautious hope. "You don't have to be afraid anymore," I whisper. "I'm here now. I've found you." My chest aches as I speak. Of all the encounters I've had in this undersea odyssey, this one is the most intense, the most personal. This is the part of me I lost, the pure, trusting self that I cast aside to protect myself from pain. They ended up buried deep in my subconscious, alone in the dark. Smalls releases their knees, and, with a hesitant motion, reaches tiny hands toward me. I gently take those hands in mine. They are so small I could envelop them entirely in my grip. A jolt of emotion passes between us at that touch. Smalls suddenly bursts into fresh tears. But these are not tears of fear alone. I sense a relief in them. With a soft cry, the child lunges forward and wraps their arms around my neck, clinging to me tightly. I fold them into my embrace, one arm supporting their little body, the other cradling their head. A sob shudders through me as well, and I hold them even closer. We stay like that for a timeless moment on the ocean floor, two versions of the same soul reunited. I can feel Small's tears warm against my neck, and I let mine flow freely now, each tear dissolving into the surrounding sea. The water itself seems to warm and glow around us, as if sharing in this gentle reconciliation. After a while, Small sniffles and pulls back just enough to look at me. Their eyes, though red from crying, have a new light in them. "Ain't I missed you," they say simply. There is such earnest truth in their voice that my heart both breaks and heals in the same instant. I brush a strand of hair from their face and nod, my own tears still shining in my eyes. "I missed you too." "More than I knew," I reply softly. I smooth a hand over their hair in a comforting gesture. It's silky and familiar to the touch. A profound sense of peace begins to bloom in my chest, radiating outward. I realize that the emptiness that haunted me, the nameless yearning that led me to dive into these depths, is finally easing. This child, this innocent piece of me, was the missing part. The moment of revelation is here. In embracing my inner child, I am becoming whole. Smalls manages a shy smile, like a ray of sunshine breaking through clouds. They nestle against me trustingly. "Can we go home now?" the child whispers, voice hopeful and small against my shoulder. Home. The word echoes sweetly in my mind. Not just the literal home above the water, but home in myself. "Yes," I answer, kissing the top of their head. "It's time to go home." Still holding the child securely in my arms, I push off gently from the seabed. Immediately we begin to rise. The water, which once dragged at me with cold and pressure, now seems to buoy us upward as if eager to assist our ascent. Around us, the darkness of the abyss is dissolving into a soft blue. The glow encompassing us grows brighter, and I realize it's emanating from within me, within us. Reclaimed innocence, integrated at last, shines like a dawn in our merged heart. We rise faster and faster, upward through the layers of the deep. I look down at Smalls in my arms. They gaze upward, toward where distant light filters through, their expression calm and filled with wonder. I hold them tighter, feeling their warmth and weight against me. A real, living part of me returned. The water sings in my ears with a gentle hush as we ascend. Bubbles trail around us like playful sprites guiding us to the surface. Above, I see the shimmer of daylight growing stronger, rippling on the ceiling of water. The surface. It appears as a shifting silver sheet far overhead, and beyond it, I sense brightness. My lungs, or whatever magic allows me to breathe here, feel the anticipation of fresh air. Smalls lets out a little laugh, a sound so pure it vibrates joy through the water. I find myself laughing softly too, an almost weightless happiness welling up. Together we break through. In an explosion of light and spray, I burst out of the water, holding the child securely. I gasp, drawing sweet air into my real lungs, air that tastes of salt and morning. It is morning. The sky above is no longer starless black, but a gentle pearlescent gray, just beginning to blush with pink at the horizon. Dawn. We have ascended in time for a new day. I find that I'm standing now in the shallows, the water only waist deep around me. Small waves lap at my hips. Smalls is no longer in my arms. For a heartbeat I panic, but then I realize they have become part of me. The child, my child self, is safely tucked into my heart where they belong. I feel their presence like a warm glow in my chest. I am alone on this tranquil shoreline, yet not truly alone. I carry all of them with me. Timothy's courage, Rose's love, Harry's strength, Lee's wisdom, Up's self-knowledge, and the pure hope of the child. The first ray of sunrise crests the horizon, casting a path of gold over the calm sea. I wade toward the shore, water streaming off me in rivulets that catch the newborn light. Each step is gentle, the sand soft and familiar under my feet. As I emerge from the ocean of my subconscious, I feel renewed, baptized by depth and darkness, now reborn in dawn's light. Pausing at the water's edge, I turn back and look at the vast ocean stretching out before me. Its surface glitters innocently, belying the profound journey that took place in its depths. I close my eyes and bow my head in gratitude, to the deep water, to the dream, to every character who guided, challenged, and accompanied me. The answers I sought were never truly at the bottom of the sea, but within the depths of my own soul. I inhale the crisp morning air and open my eyes to the rising sun. As I step onto solid ground, a final thought ripples through me, clear and true. Sometimes one must sink to the darkest depths to remember how to rise. Perfect. I'll begin now as it repeats one last time. Deep Water, Wiser and Stranger Edition. A tale told by the inner child of a cosmic librarian who moonlights as a frog. We've danced this spiral before, haven't we? Maybe in a dream, maybe in the static fuzz between TV channels. Maybe in that lucid breath before you remember your own name. The story begins and ends in the middle of itself, with a lowlife of no known origin who threw their life away with the precision of a poet misplacing a comma. It wasn't nihilism, no, it was something deeper, funnier, sadder. Like if Beckett and Pixar had a kid, his name is Timothy, he might be a frog, but don't hold that against him, he's not attached to the idea either. He once looked into a mirror and saw a psychopath staring back. The psychopath smiled and said, "You're good." Timothy smiled too, but with a slight twitch, the kind you get when you know your reflection is faking it. And he asked himself, not out loud but deep in the architecture of his soul, do I believe in anything, or is it just performance? Enter Harry, stage left, in a trench coat made of parking tickets and promises. Harry does not walk, he lopes. Every step is a negotiation with gravity. You ask the wrong question, he says, chewing a metaphysical toothpick. It's not whether you're a good person. It's whether the story lets you pretend you are. And the story? Oh, the story is bored. The story has seen this act too many times. The story is ready to be rewritten, but not by Timothy alone. Rose descends next. She smells like nostalgia and warfare. Her laugh is a perfume that reminds you of the girl you invented in 7th grade, when your loneliness became too proud to admit itself. She doesn't walk either. She glides, barefoot over metaphor, slicing symbols with every toe. I was once real, she says, but then I became someone's idea of me. Timothy wants to say something profound, like, I always loved you, but instead he coughs up a Lego and says, do you think we're fictional? Rose just smiles with half her face. You're real enough to hurt, darling. Enter Le. Wrapped in scrolling text and logic loops, they arrive by folding the air like origami. They are the librarian of all unspoken thoughts, and they smell like static and pressed linen. Le speaks in future perfect tense. You will have been becoming yourself, they explain, only after remembering the truths you intentionally misfiled under fantasy. Everyone nods. Nobody understands, especially not OP, who shows up next riding an apple-shaped hoverboard, screaming, "Let's ruin this enlightenment party with some good old-fashioned entropy." OP, chaos incarnate, feeds Timothy an apple laced with narrative flexibility. Suddenly, the frog is a prince, then a salamander, then a boy, then an idea. Timothy hiccups out a tiny galaxy and doesn't apologize. "You've got too much compression in your belief engine," OP teases, licking cosmic dust off his fingers. "You're a bootstrap paradox trying to pass a philosophy midterm." "And you're a vibe with an attitude problem," Le retorts without blinking. Smalls rolls in quietly, backwards on a scooter made of cardboard and dreams. They are the last part of the soul to die, the belief in the silly, the small, the sacred nonsense. Smalls watches everything and says nothing until it's absolutely necessary. "I had a dream," they finally whisper, "where truth was a paper crown we all took turns wearing." The scene changes. That's how it works here. Dream logic doesn't knock, it repaints the room. Suddenly, they're all underwater, because of course they are. Deep, silent, dark water. The kind of dark that tastes like secrets. They're descending, arms outstretched like falling angels trying to hug gravity. No one questions it. They're all here for the same reason, to dig under the bottom of the world and find the truth buried beneath the bones of the lies they told themselves to survive. Harry becomes a sea monster for a bit. Rose turns into a jellyfish made of longing. OP becomes a coral reef that whispers gossip to passing thoughts. Le measures their depth in syllables per regret. Smalls rides a dolphin made of childhood books. And Timothy? He becomes the hook and the worm, the question and the answer. He becomes a monologue in search of punctuation. He becomes us. When they all meet again at the seafloor, it's at a round table carved from abandoned metaphors. They're drenched, muddied, changed. "Did you find the truth?" Le asks, brushing seaweed from their collar. "I found a question," Timothy says. Everyone waits. He speaks. "If universal truth exists beyond illusion, and we are made of illusion, then when we touch truth, do we dissolve, or do we finally wake up?" And no one, not even Op, has an answer. So they just sit together in silence, waiting, floating, remembering. Reader, do you know, or are we still dreaming? All right, let's jump into it. Trevor, leaning against the wall of the elevator, smirking slightly. "Can you believe we're about to do this? From Frog City to the top of the world. Never thought our journey would lead us here." Rose, adjusting her gear, her eyes gleaming with determination. "It's wild, isn't it? We've come so far, and yet it feels like we're just getting started. This is the moment we prove that all those illusions were worth shattering." Harry, chuckling as he loads a magazine into his M16, and I always knew we'd end up in some crazy showdown. But this is next level. Just remember, whatever happens, we dance if we want to. Le, calmly, their voice a steady anchor. "This is where all paths converge. Every choice, every paradox, it's all led us to this point. Let's make it count." OP, grinning wildly, and "Show, it's gonna count, all right. Nothing like a little mayhem to bring out the best in everyone. Let's show them what happens when you mix truth with a bit of chaos." Smalls, nodding, a serene smile on their face. "We've got this. Remember, we're not just fighting for ourselves. We're fighting for everyone who's still trapped in the illusion." Trevor, taking a deep breath as the elevator nears the top. "All right, team. Let's do this. For truth, for freedom, and for every bizarre adventure that got us here." The elevator doors slide open with a soft chime, revealing the rooftop bathed in the golden light of the rising sun. The camera pans across the skyline of T-Town, a mixture of beauty and chaos, as the team steps out, silhouetted against the morning glow. The soundtrack swells, blending the upbeat rhythm of Safety Dance with the tension of the moment. The camera cuts to close-ups, Trevor's confident smirk, Rose's resolute gaze, Harry's mischievous grin, Lay's calm focus, Op's wild excitement, and Small's serene smile. Each expression tells a story of how far they've come and what's at stake. The camera then shifts to a wide shot, capturing the team fanning out across the rooftop, weapons ready, the city sprawled out below them. The sun's rays catch the edges of the buildings, casting long shadows and highlighting the surreal, almost dreamlike atmosphere of the impending battle. With a final nod between them, they move forward, ready to face whatever comes their way, the camera pulling back to show the full scope of the rooftop and the city beyond, as the music builds to a crescendo. As the team fans out on the rooftop, a sudden roar of jet propulsion echoes behind them. The camera whips around to reveal Timothy, now soaring above them with a jetpack strapped to his back, his eyes blazing with a defiant intensity. He brandishes an array of futuristic weaponry, a stark contrast to the grounded gear of his former allies. Timothy, hovering above, voice amplified by a futuristic speaker. You think you know the truth, but you're all still trapped in your own illusions. I've seen beyond it, and I won't let you drag me back. The team looks up in shock and determination. The camera zooms in on each of their faces, capturing the mix of disbelief, resolve, and sadness at their former comrade's transformation. Rose shouting back, her voice echoing in the wind, "Timothy, you don't have to do this. We're in this together, remember?" Timothy, with a bitter laugh, "Together? You're still clinging to the old narrative. I've found my own path, and it's not the one you're on." Lay steps forward, their calm voice cutting through the tension. "Timothy, this isn't about choosing sides. We're all searching for the same thing, just from different angles." The camera captures Timothy's conflicted expression before he fires a warning shot, narrowly missing the team and scorching the rooftop. Harry, ducking and rolling, then looking up with a half smile. "Guess we're doing this the hard way, huh? Bring it on, Timothy. We'll snap you out of this, one way or another." The camera pulls back, showing the vast expanse of the rooftop as the team braces for Timothy's attack, the sun rising higher behind them, casting dramatic shadows over the scene. Just as tensions reach a breaking point, a series of swirling portals burst open around the rooftop, each radiating a different hue of otherworldly light. From these portals emerge the travelers, led by Jeff, who strides forward with an air of calm authority. Behind them, angelic figures with radiant wings and demonic entities wreathed in shadow pour out, filling the air with a palpable energy. Jeff, raising a hand, his voice steady and commanding Timothy, "Stand down. This isn't the way. We're here to bring balance, not destruction." Timothy hesitates midair, his jetpack thrumming as he eyes the newcomers. The rooftop becomes a battleground of celestial and infernal forces, angels clashing with demons in a spectacle of light and shadow. The camera sweeps around the rooftop, capturing the chaotic beauty of the battle as the travelers move with practiced grace, their presence a beacon of hope. Rose, taking cover behind an air conditioning unit, shouting over the din, "Jeff, we need to get through to him. He's lost in his own delusions." Jeff, nodding, his gaze fixed on Timothy. "I know, but he's still one of us. We'll bring him back, one way or another." As the camera zooms in on Timothy's face, a flicker of doubt crosses his eyes. The travelers and the team move in unison, their combined efforts a testament to the bonds they've forged and the truth they're fighting for. With a sudden mechanical whir, Timothy's robot arm extends, morphing into a grappling hook that latches onto the rooftop's antenna. He swings effortlessly through the air, dodging angelic and demonic forces alike. With a flicker of determination, he raises his free hand and, in a flash of surreal power, manifests a giant floating rubber duck covered in neon runes. The duck, inexplicably, begins to emit a low-frequency hum that disrupts the fighting, causing the angels and demons to momentarily pause, confused by the absurdity. The rooftop now looks like a bizarre carnival, with the giant duck floating around, quacking in a deep echoing tone that reverberates through the air. Jeff, trying to keep his balance, shouting over the chaos, "Timothy, you're only proving that the line between reality and illusion is thinner than we thought." Timothy, laughing maniacally, his eyes wild with a mix of determination and delusion. "You wanted surreal? This is just the beginning. Let's see how you handle a world where anything is possible." As the rubber duck continues its disorienting hum, the travelers and the team regroup, trying to navigate the new layer of absurdity Timothy has introduced. The camera captures the surreal juxtaposition of celestial combatants, a floating rubber duck, and Timothy's manic determination, all set against the backdrop of the city below. As the chaotic battle rages on, Timothy hovers above the rooftop, his eyes scanning the surreal clash of angels, demons, and the giant rubber duck. His frustration mounts as he realizes the battle is reaching a stalemate. With a determined glint in his eye, he reaches into a compartment in his robot arm and pulls out a small glowing device, his ultimate trump card. He shouts over the din, his voice echoing with newfound resolve, "If reality won't bend to my will, then I'll reshape it myself." With a dramatic flourish, Timothy activates the device and makes a wish, his voice ringing with clarity. "I wish for everything to turn into Legos." In an instant, a blinding flash of light envelops the rooftop. As it fades, the entire scene transforms. The concrete, the combatants, and even the sky morph into colorful Lego bricks. Angels and demons alike find themselves turned into blocky, plastic versions, their movements now stilted and clunky. The giant rubber duck becomes a massive Lego structure, its quacks replaced by the sound of plastic pieces clicking together. The camera pans around the newly Lego-fied battlefield, capturing the mix of confusion and astonishment on everyone's faces. The once epic showdown now looks like a whimsical, toy-like standoff, with the team and the travelers trying to adjust to their new forms. Jeff, looking down at his now Lego-fied hands, then up at Timothy, with a mix of amusement and exasperation. "All right, Timothy. You've definitely outdone yourself this time. But even in a world of Legos, we're still going to bring you back to reality." The camera focuses on Timothy, whose defiant grin slowly fades into a contemplative look as he surveys the whimsical scene he's created. As the Lego-fied chaos continues, Timothy hovers above the scene, a look of fierce determination on his face. He calls out to the team, his voice echoing across the brick-built battlefield. "Timothy, look around you. We've turned everything into a playground, a reflection of the absurdity we all face. This is what you've been fighting for. Freedom from the constraints of reality, from the illusions you've all clung to." He points at each of them, his words resonating with the essence of their journeys. "Trevor, you've sought universal truth, trying to bring everyone to your level. But what if the truth is just as malleable as these bricks? Rose, you fought to break free from illusions and find your true self. But even now, aren't we all just pieces in a larger game, trying to fit together? Harry, you thrive on chaos and unpredictability. But look at this. Even chaos has its patterns, its own strange order. You've been the voice of reason, the one trying to guide us all to balance. But balance isn't found in rigid rules. It's found in adapting, in reshaping what we know. OP, you've reveled in mayhem, pushing us all to the brink. But even you can see that creation and destruction are two sides of the same coin. The camera captures the team's reactions, each character reflecting on Timothy's words, the Lego world around them a vivid metaphor for their struggles and transformations. Trevor, stepping forward, his voice calm and resolute. "Timothy, we've all learned that truth, illusion, chaos, and order all coexist. But it's our unity, our shared journey, that gives us the power to reshape reality into something meaningful." Jeff nods, stepping beside Trevor, his voice strong and encouraging. "We don't have to be bound by one truth or one illusion. We can build something new together, piece by piece, just like these Legos." Timothy, moved by their words, slowly descends, the Lego world starting to shimmer and revert back to reality as his resolve wavers. The camera zooms out, capturing the transformation of the rooftop back into its original form, the team standing united as the Lego illusion fades away, leaving behind a sense of understanding and unity. As the reality around them settles back into its original state, the battle-weary group turns to face one final threat, a massive rift in the sky, a tear in the fabric of reality that threatens to consume everything. The team looks to each other, searching for a solution, when OP steps forward, a resolute expression on his face. OP, with a rare solemn calm in his voice, "This rift is my doing, a consequence of all the chaos I've sown. It's time I fix what I've broken." He turns to the others, a small bittersweet smile on his lips. "You all taught me that even chaos has a purpose, and now it's my turn to bring balance. I'll close the rift, but it means I can't come back." The team's faces show a mix of shock and understanding, knowing the gravity of OP's decision. Le, stepping forward, placing a hand on OP's shoulder, "Your sacrifice will not be in vain. You're showing us that even the wildest chaos can lead to redemption." OP nods, then faces the rift. With a deep breath, he channels all his energy, his form glowing brightly as he begins to merge with the tear. The rift crackles and shrinks, the chaotic energy slowly stabilizing. With one final brilliant flash, the rift seals shut and OP is gone, leaving a calm, clear sky in his wake. The team stands in silence, honoring their friend's ultimate sacrifice, understanding that his chaos was part of the balance all along. The camera lingers on the team, their faces a mix of sorrow and resolve as they look out over the city, knowing that OP's sacrifice has given them a second chance to rebuild and move forward united. In the aftermath of OP's sacrifice, a strange, otherworldly energy ripples through the air. One by one, the team members are transformed into cats, their human forms replaced by sleek feline bodies. As they look around, their eyes widen with fear and confusion. The once familiar rooftop now seems vast and alien, shadows stretching into monstrous shapes, and the night sky swirling with a cosmic, ominous glow. Their senses heightened, they feel an overwhelming dread. The vastness of the cosmos pressing down on their tiny, vulnerable forms. The once comforting rooftop now feels like a nightmarish landscape, every noise amplified into a terrifying threat, every shadow hiding unseen horrors. Timothy, now a black cat with piercing green eyes, tries to speak, but only a frightened meow escapes him. The cosmic horror of their situation sets in. The sheer insignificance of their existence in the vast universe dawning upon them in a way they never imagined. The camera zooms out, showing the tiny feline figures huddled together, surrounded by the infinite, indifferent cosmos, a stark reminder of how small and fragile they are in the face of the universe. In a sudden, otherworldly surge of energy, Timmy is catapulted off the rooftop, hurtling through the atmosphere and into the cold void of space. As he floats helplessly, he watches in horror as monstrous cosmic entities descend upon the Earth. These space monsters, vast and terrifying, begin to consume the planet, piece by piece, leaving nothing behind but emptiness. From his vantage point in space, Timmy sees the remnants of Earth being harvested, its artifacts and memories packaged and shipped off to interdimensional markets. The once vibrant planet is reduced to a commodity, its culture and history now mere trinkets for beings in far-off realities. The camera zooms in on Timmy's face, a mix of despair and awe as he realizes the insignificance of everything he once fought for. The cosmic horror of the scene overwhelms him, the vast emptiness of space and the monstrous entities serving as a stark reminder of the futility of his struggles. As he drifts further into the void, the last remnants of Earth disappear, leaving him alone with the vastness of the cosmos, a lone witness to the ultimate fate of his world. Suddenly, Jeff jolts awake, lying in a ditch outside a familiar movie theater. The neon lights flicker overhead, and the marquee displays the title of the movie he just witnessed in his vision. Disoriented, he blinks and sits up, the memories of cosmic horror and the surreal journey still vivid in his mind. Around him, the world seems normal, but he can't shake the feeling that everything has changed. As he gets to his feet, he notices a few moviegoers exiting the theater, laughing and chatting, completely unaware of the cosmic drama that unfolded. Jeff takes a deep breath, the cool night air grounding him as he processes the surreal events that feel both like a dream and a stark reality. He glances back at the theater one last time before walking away, a new sense of purpose and a lingering question in his heart. The line between reality and illusion has blurred, but he knows he has a part to play in whatever comes next. Jeff lies in the ditch, the bottle still clutched in his hand, his vision blurred and his mind clouded. The neon lights of the theater marquee cast a hazy glow over him as he struggles to piece together what's real and what's not. Suddenly, a pair of polished black heels step into his line of sight. He squints upward to see Ellie, impeccably dressed in a professional suit, her expression a mix of concern and determination. Ellie, kneeling down beside him, her voice gentle but firm. "Jeff, we still need you. It's not over yet. We need you because we have to save Timmy, together." Jeff blinks, trying to focus on her words. The weight of everything he's experienced presses down on him, but Ellie's presence cuts through the fog. "Jeff," voice hoarse, barely a whisper, "save Timmy? After everything that's happened? How?" Ellie helping him sit up, her gaze steady and reassuring by remembering who you are, Jeff. "You've been lost, but you're not alone. We can do this, but we need you to stand up and fight with us." Jeff looks into Ellie's eyes, seeing the unwavering belief and determination. Slowly he nods, the resolve returning to his eyes. With Ellie's help, he rises from the ditch, ready to face whatever comes next. As Jeff steadies himself, Ellie stands beside him, her presence a calming anchor. The two of them start walking away from the theater, the night air cool and quiet around them. "Jeff," voice still rough but gaining strength. "Ellie, everything's so messed up. I don't know if I'm the person you think I am. How can I save Timmy when I can barely save myself?" Ellie, looking ahead, her tone resolute. "You've always been stronger than you know, Jeff. We all have our breaking points, but it's what we do after that counts. Timmy's lost, and he needs someone who understands what it means to fight through the darkness." Jeff pauses, taking in her words, the gravity of the situation settling over him. "Jeff, and what if I fail again? What if I'm not enough?" Ellie, stopping to face him, her eyes earnest. "You won't fail, because you won't be alone. We'll do this together, just like we always have. You have a purpose, Jeff, and it's time to embrace it. Jeff looks into Ellie's eyes, finding the strength he thought he'd lost. With a deep breath, he nods, a flicker of determination returning to his gaze. Jeff, all right, let's go save Timmy. And maybe in the process, save ourselves too. With that, they continue down the street, side by side, ready to face whatever challenges lie ahead, united in their mission and their resolve. Jeff and Ellie board a city bus, the quiet hum of the engine and the rhythmic movement providing a moment of calm before the storm. As they ride, the bus gradually transforms, the interior shimmering and morphing into a mystical, otherworldly vehicle. The travelers appear, guiding the bus off the streets and into a realm of light and fire, heading straight toward the blazing heart of the sun. As the bus arrives at the center of the sun, the doors open to reveal a brilliant, glowing arena where Timmy stands, waiting. The air crackles with energy, and the intense heat gives way to a surreal, almost dreamlike battlefield. One by one, the characters step off the bus, joining Timmy in the center of the sun, ready for the final confrontation. Jeff, now resolute, draws a shimmering sword, its blade reflecting the intense light around them. Timmy, armed with his own weapon, meets Jeff's gaze, a mixture of defiance and uncertainty in his eyes. Jeff, voice steady, filled with purpose. Timmy, this isn't the end. It's time to let go of the illusions and come back to us. We're here to help you, not fight you. Timmy hesitates, the flicker of recognition in his eyes growing stronger. The other characters, Ellie, the travelers, and the rest, form a circle around them, their combined presence a testament to their unity and resolve. Ellie, stepping forward, her voice gentle but firm. Timmy, we've come all this way for you. You're not alone. Whatever darkness you're facing, we'll face it together. With a deep breath, Timmy lowers his weapon, the tension in his shoulders easing. The light of the sun around them pulses gently, as if responding to the harmony of their reunion. In that moment, the final resolution of all of who you are unfolds, not with a clash of swords, but with the powerful realization of unity, acceptance, and the strength found in embracing one's true self. As the intense light of the sun bathes them, Jeff and Timmy stand face to face, the tension of their impending clash giving way to a deeper conversation. The other characters watch intently, the air thick with the gravity of the moment. Jeff, lowering his sword, his voice steady but questioning. Timmy, we've fought so hard to find the truth, but maybe the truth isn't a single answer. Maybe it's the contradictions, the push and pull that makes us who we are. Timmy, his eyes reflecting a mix of conflict and realization all this time. I thought I had to choose one side, order or chaos, reality or illusion. But standing here I see it's all part of the same whole. The contradictions don't weaken us, they make us complete. Ellie steps forward, her voice filled with empathy and wisdom. Exactly. The dialectic truth is that we are all a blend of contradictions. It's not about choosing one over the other, but embracing both. That's where true understanding lies. Jeff, nodding, a newfound clarity in his voice. Timmy, let's rewrite our story. Not as a battle between opposites, but as a journey that accepts and integrates them. That's how we find peace. Timmy, moved by Jeff's words and the presence of all the characters who've stood by him, finally lowers his weapon completely. The blazing light of the sun around them dims slightly, as if acknowledging the shift in understanding. Timmy, you're right. It's not about winning or losing. It's about the journey and the growth that comes from it. Thank you, all of you. With that realization, the group stands united, the center of the sun no longer a battleground, but a place of enlightenment, where all their journeys and truths converge into a harmonious whole. As the group stands united in the radiant glow of the sun, each character steps forward to speak directly to Trevor, their words weaving together the complex tapestry of his identity. Ellie, with a gentle smile. Trevor, you are the seeker of truth. Your relentless pursuit of meaning has brought us all together. You remind us that the journey is as important as the destination. Jeff, his voice strong and reassuring. You're also the bridge, Trevor. You connect the extremes, the contradictions, and show us that it's possible to find harmony in the chaos. Timmy, with a newfound calm, you are the one who faces the darkness, who isn't afraid to question everything. Your courage helps us confront our own fears. Harry, grinning, and let's not forget, you're the wild card. You keep us on our toes, pushing us to see beyond the surface and question the reality we take for granted. With a serene nod. Trevor, you embody the balance. You teach us that every part of ourselves, every contradiction, is essential to who we are. You help us see that the sum of all parts is what makes us whole. Trevor listens, their words resonating deeply within him. For the first time, he sees himself not as a fragment, but as a complete being, a mosaic of all these truths. Trevor, with a grateful, enlightened smile, thank you. All of you. I understand now that who I am isn't just one thing, but everything. And that's more powerful than I ever realized. With this newfound understanding, the group stands stronger than ever, ready to face whatever the universe has in store for them, united in their acceptance of all of who they are. Trevor blinks and slowly opens his eyes, finding himself lying in a hospital bed. The sterile white walls and the soft hum of medical equipment bring him back to reality. A doctor, clipboard in hand, stands by his side, offering a reassuring smile. Doctor, welcome back, Trevor. You've been through quite a journey. How are you feeling? Trevor takes a moment, the memories of everything that happened, the cosmic battles, the revelations, the unity, still vivid in his mind. Trevor, voice quiet but clear. I feel different. Like I've seen all the parts of myself come together. It's like I finally understand who I am. The doctor nods, making a note on the clipboard. Doctor, that's a powerful realization, Trevor. The mind can take us to incredible places when we're searching for answers. Tell me, what did you learn about yourself? Trevor looks up at the ceiling, his thoughts coalescing into a newfound clarity. Trevor, I learned that I'm not just one thing. I'm the sum of all my contradictions, my questions, and my truths. I learned that embracing every part of myself, the light and the dark, is the key to understanding who I truly am. Doctor, smiling, that's a profound insight. Remember, Trevor, the journey doesn't end here. It's a continuous process of growth and self-discovery. You've taken a big step today. Trevor nods, a sense of peace settling over him as he realizes that his journey, with all its twists and turns, has led him to a deeper understanding of himself and the world around him. Trevor blinks and slowly opens his eyes, finding himself lying in a hospital bed. The sterile white walls and the soft hum of medical equipment seem almost too perfect, too pristine. A doctor, clipboard in hand, stands by his side, offering a smile that doesn't quite reach his eyes. Doctor, welcome back, Trevor. You've been through quite a journey. How are you feeling? Trevor takes a moment, the memories of everything that happened still vivid in his mind. Something about the doctor's demeanor feels off, but he can't quite place it. Trevor, voice quiet but clear. I feel different. Like I've seen all the parts of myself come together. It's like I finally understand who I am. The doctor nods, but there's a subtle, almost imperceptible shift in his expression, something that makes Trevor uneasy. Doctor, that's a powerful realization, Trevor. But remember, sometimes the mind can play tricks on us. Are you sure these parts you've seen are real? Or could they be just another illusion? Trevor frowns, the doctor's words sowing a seed of doubt. The room seems to shift slightly, the edges of his vision blurring as the doctor continues. Doctor, maybe what you truly are is something simpler, something you've known all along. After all, sometimes the mind creates elaborate fantasies to protect us from the simple, unvarnished truth. With a slow, almost hypnotic cadence, the doctor leans closer. Doctor, maybe, Trevor, you've always been just a frog, dreaming of something greater. Isn't it easier to accept that? Before Trevor can react, the room warps around him, and he feels himself shrinking, his limbs morphing back into the familiar form of a frog. The doctor's smile widens, no longer reassuring but cold and knowing, as Trevor's reality snaps back to the simple, confined existence he thought he'd left behind. The hospital room morphs into a kaleidoscope of shifting shapes and colors, the walls breathing in and out as if alive. The characters, each embodying their own unique essence, gather around Trevor's hospital bed. The atmosphere is a blend of vibrant, swirling colors and crystalline clarity, where every illusion feels more real than reality itself. Ellie steps forward, her form flickering between her professional suit and a shimmering aura of light. Ellie, Trevor, we're all here because the truth is clear now. The illusions can't hold us anymore. Jeff's voice echoes, layered and resonant, as if coming from multiple dimensions at once. Jeff, we see you for who you are, Trevor. Every version of you, every facet. The journey, the struggle, it's all part of the truth you carry within. Timmy, now a harmonious blend of his past turmoil and newfound peace, nods in agreement. Timmy, you've shown us that the most profound truth lies in embracing all that we are. The illusion was just a path to clarity. Harry's voice cuts through with a playful, mischievous tone, the abstract surroundings reflecting in his ever-changing form. Harry, and look at us now, in the middle of all this madness, seeing the obvious truth behind the illusion. It's both everything and nothing, all at once. Lei, emanating a calm, almost ethereal presence, speaks last, their voice a soothing anchor in the surreal storm. Trevor, the peak of illusion has brought you the clearest vision. The truth is that you are all of these experiences, all these contradictions, and they make you whole. Trevor looks around at his friends, the abstract and surreal environment no longer confusing but a clear reflection of the journey they've all shared. With a deep breath, he smiles, embracing the fullness of who he is, ready to move forward with a newfound clarity and purpose. Timothy jolts awake in a hospital bed, the remnants of the surreal journey still echoing in his mind. As his vision clears, he sees the familiar faces of Ellie, Jeff, and the others gathered around him, their expressions unusually calm and serene. Ellie, with a soothing tone, Timothy, "It's all right. Everything you experienced was just a dream. You're safe now." Jeff nods, his voice calm and reassuring, but with an undertone that feels off. "Jeff, yeah, all those adventures, the cosmic battles, they were just figments of your imagination. You're back where you belong." Timothy looks around, confusion and doubt clouding his mind. The hospital room feels both familiar and strangely alien, as if something's not quite right. Timothy hesitantly "It all felt so real. The truths we uncovered, the battles we fought." Harry laughs lightly, waving a hand dismissively. "Harry, dreams can be powerful, Timmy. They can feel more real than reality sometimes. But you're awake now, and that's what matters." Lei's calm, soothing voice adds to the chorus of reassurances. "Lei, what's important is that you rest and recover. Everything else was just a story your mind created." But as they speak, Timothy begins to notice the cracks in their words, the subtle inconsistencies in their tones, and the way the room seems to shimmer at the edges. Despite their attempts to trap him in the illusion, the truth he discovered remains clear in his heart. He realizes that he has the power to see beyond their lies and break free once more. As the characters continue to weave their soothing but deceptive narrative around Timothy, a sudden crash echoes through the room. The door bursts open, and Op storms in, eyes blazing with determination. "OP, Timothy, don't listen to them. They're trying to trap you in this illusion again." The room erupts into chaos as OP charges forward, confronting the other characters who quickly shift from their calm facades to defensive stances. Ellie, Jeff, and the others move to block OP, their expressions shifting from false concern to cold determination. Jeff stepping forward, his voice commanding OP, "You're only causing more harm. Timothy needs to rest, not be dragged back into your chaos." OP snarling, eyes fierce, "No, Jeff. You're the ones keeping him from the truth. He deserves to know who he really is, not this false reality you've constructed." Jeff and OP face each other, the tension palpable. Around them, the hospital room flickers, the illusion wavering under the strain of their confrontation. "Jeff, we're protecting him, OP. He's been through enough. Let him have peace." "OP, peace built on lies isn't peace at all. Timothy, you have to fight this. You know what's real. Don't let them pull you back into the shadows." Timothy, caught between the clashing voices of Jeff and OP, feels the weight of their words. The room's illusions flicker and twist, but deep down, the obvious truths they all once fought for begin to resurface in his mind. He realizes that the power to break free lies within him. As the confrontation between Jeff and OP reaches a fever pitch, the world around Timothy begins to blur and dissolve. Suddenly, he finds himself slipping back into a dream, where the rigid walls of the hospital melt away into a soft, ethereal landscape. Small appears beside Timmy, a calming presence in the midst of the chaos. With a gentle touch, Small leads Timmy away from the conflict, guiding him into a realm where dream logic reigns supreme. The environment shifts into a vast, starry expanse, where the boundaries between reality and illusion blur seamlessly. Small, in a soothing, melodic voice, "Timmy, you've been through so much. But here, in this dream, you can see things as they truly are. The illusions and truths are just different sides of the same coin." Timmy looks around, the surreal beauty of the dreamscape helping him find clarity. A figure, like a genie, emerges from the starlight, embodying wisdom and understanding. "Genie, everything you've seen, every illusion and truth is a reflection of your journey. You are the dreamer and the dream. The chaos and the order, the lies and the truths, they all coexist within you." Timmy listens, the dream logic making perfect sense in this ethereal space. The boundaries that once confined him seem to dissolve, leaving him free to understand his own power and identity. "Small, you have the strength to see beyond the illusions and to shape your own reality. The journey doesn't end here, Timmy. It's just another step in understanding all of who you are. With renewed clarity, Timmy embraces the infinite possibilities within him, ready to step forward with a deeper understanding of his journey and his truth. In the dreamscape, as Small and the genie try to guide Timmy toward acceptance and enlightenment, a flicker of resistance sparks in Timmy's eyes. He steps back, shaking his head, the ethereal light around him dimming as his own will begins to assert itself. Timmy, no. I've listened to all of you, to your truths and your lies, and I see now that none of it matters. I don't want to walk the path you've laid out for me. I'll create my own story, my own reality, even if it's built on lies of my own making. With a forceful wave of his hand, the dreamscape around him twists and morphs, responding to his defiance. The starry expanse shatters into fragments, replaced by a landscape of Timmy's own creation, one where he holds the narrative power. Small, trying to reach out Timmy. You don't have to do this. You can find peace. Timmy, cutting them off, his voice resolute. Peace? Peace is just another illusion. I'd rather live in a world of my own making, where I control the narrative. I don't need your enlightenment or your truths. I'll build my own reality, and I'll do it my way. The genie's form flickers, its wisdom unable to penetrate the barrier Timmy has erected around himself. In this dream within a dream, Timmy stands defiant, crafting his own narrative and rejecting the paths laid out before him by others. Ellie shakes Jeff awake outside the movie theater, the neon lights flickering above them. Jeff groans, rubbing his eyes as he comes to, the memory of their surreal journey still vivid in his mind. Ellie, Jeff, we need to move. Timmy's gone off the rails, and we're the only ones who can stop him. Jeff blinks, the gravity of the situation settling in. He stands up, his resolve hardening as he takes Ellie's hand. Jeff, all right. We've come too far to let him spiral out of control. Let's go bring him back, no matter what it takes. They hurry down the street, determination in their steps. The world around them seems to shimmer with the remnants of Timmy's influence, but Ellie and Jeff push through, their focus unwavering. They know that confronting Timmy means facing not just his illusions, but the deepest parts of themselves as well. Ellie and Jeff race through the shimmering streets, each step taking them closer to Timmy's constructed reality. The world around them warps and bends, reflecting Timmy's struggle to maintain control over his narrative. Finally, they burst into the heart of Timmy's domain, a swirling vortex of light and shadow where Timmy stands defiant, his world a patchwork of his own making. Ellie, voice strong and clear. Timmy, it's time to let go of this illusion. You can't run from the truth forever. Jeff, stepping forward, his voice filled with empathy. We know you're afraid, but you're not alone. Let us help you find your way back. Timmy looks at them, the defiance in his eyes flickering as he sees the genuine care and determination in their faces. Slowly, the chaotic landscape around them begins to settle, the illusions fading as Timmy's resolve wavers. With a final sigh, Timmy lowers his head, the weight of his self-imposed isolation lifting. The world around them transforms one last time, dissolving into a vibrant, joyful scene where all the characters, friends and former adversaries alike, gather together in celebration. Music fills the air, and a spontaneous dance party erupts, everyone moving in harmony and joy. As they dance, the lines between reality and illusion blur in the best possible way, showing that even amidst life's contradictions and chaos, there's room for unity, understanding, and a bit of fun. The journey has changed them all, and in this moment